Okay, hi everyone. So we're going to go through and I'm going to show you how to complete the square on this guy right here. So remember what I was telling you before. The very first thing that I want you to do is move that 4 out of the way. Okay, that constant is not necessary at this point in completing the square. When we complete the square, we only want to work with those first two terms. Okay, good. Then what we want to do here, and you think back to what we were doing when we were completing the square before, we only ever did it when there was a 1 in front of the x squared. So our next step is going to be to factor out the 2 out of the two terms there, the quadratic term and the linear term. Now remember that plus 4 is just hanging out there. X squared is going to be left over in that first position there, the quadratic term. Now here, remember this is an error that they're looking for. They're expecting you to make this. 10x divided by negative 2 will be negative 5x. And now this is in a form that I can easily apply that completing the square procedure to. Well, I say easier, except I purposely chose a number that wasn't going to work out nicely. So here's our middle term. You know, based on our look at how these things get factored, that there should be a factor of 2 in there, and that leaves us with 5 over 2 inside there. I know it's a little small there, but that leaves us with 5 over 2, negative 5 over 2, because that thing right there, it's not an even number. Now, but remember, that actually gives me a heads up. I know, once I've got that little negative 5 over 2, I know that down here, 2 steps down, when I get to the point where I factor this, this is going to be x minus 5 over 2 squared. I love that. I love that. It's just so much of the work is done automatically right there. Now what I got to do is figure out what that constant is. So now I got to think about what's going on with that 4. So here, I take that negative 5 over 2, you square it. So that's going to be 25 over 4. Remember, it shouldn't take you much effort to square that. Just the numerator and the denominator. You add the 25 over 4, you subtract the 25 over 4. Good. Now we know that in our next step here, what we want to do is take that negative term out. We want to push the negative term through that set of brackets back there. And the only way to do that is to distribute that negative 2 out front to that term. Okay, the only way to get something out of a set of brackets is to make sure that I've applied that rule that is extending to every one of those terms here. So that's going to leave us inside here with x squared minus 5x plus 25 over 4. And when I multiply that through, that is going to get me positive 50 over 4 plus 4. Okay, almost done. Almost done. And now remember, it's positive because the 2 out front was negative, and that's going to cancel there. So now you can do this a few different ways. Okay, you can use your calculator if you needed to, but 50 over 4 plus 4 over 1. Okay, if you're going to look at it this way, remember you need common denominators. And I know this is that little thing that a lot of people don't like to think about, but that's going to end up becoming 16 over 4. So 50 over 4 plus 16 over 4 is going to end up being 66 over 4. Okay, and we can divide both those by 2 to get us 33 over 2. And that's the answer that we're looking for. Now it is in vertex form. And hopefully that is enough of an example there so that you have a pattern for one that is of a pretty standard level of difficulty.